Welcome into the Gurus on Reality Feed. X and Mike here today to talk about Big Brother 28. We are just moments after the cast reveal. Before we begin, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe on this video where we're going to talk about the cast, who we think's going to excel, who we think might be a little bit of a detriment to this season. But Mike, I want to hear your thoughts initially here. Again, moments after the cast reveal and just your vibe from what you just witnessed.
Weird. It's pretty weird. I think most of these people here, it is very Big Brother coded, where you're looking for a certain niche, a certain specific person, and all of them feel like they're flamboyant with the way they speak. Feels a little AI, feels a little cringe, feels a little TikTok influencer ish. A lot of people that are just talking and using the same buzzwords, using a lot of their hand. Like, I don't know. I mean, again, I'm not saying that I'm bored of it, but it just feels like a typical Big Brother summer cast that I'm going to indulge in for the next couple months. But not really anyone specifically that stood out to me as like, oh my gosh, this looks like something I would really like get behind. Like, I got to see how it plays out. All we got is really their synopsis of like what they do for a living, what their strategy is, what their biggest strengths and weaknesses are. It's kind of just the general surface level stuff. And none of that really hooked me. Like, there was a few interesting things here. Like, we got an MMA fighter here, a former MMA fighter. We got your typical attorney. You got your rocket scientist. You got your pickleball coach. So there's a few things that are interesting here. A lot of these people are live feed watchers. Like the first like 3 or 4 people I think would say that they were like chronically online. They've been live feeders. So big super fans. I mean, we talked about at the end of the Big Brother 27 finale, we were saying, should they keep casting these super fan people, or do they want to go back to like the recruits of like people who don't really watch the show, don't really know the show that much, but it sometimes makes for better television? I don't know. So it looks like they are still doing the big super fan live feeders, people that have been watching the show for decades long. So we'll see how it makes for good television. It's not the full cast either. We only have 14 people. They haven't done just a 14-person cast in a very long time. Usually it's around 16 to 17, whatever it is. So there's probably a few more people on this cast, but just first thoughts, it looks whatever. It looks fine.
Yeah, something interesting you said there was about the cast makeup. It is pretty much mostly our generation here, but it is the sector of our generation that is, again, chronically online, very in the TikTok sphere, and that's fine, but I don't like the idea of most of these people trying to get famous because of Big Brother. And this is something we talked about a lot throughout our Survivor watching, where Survivor casting over the last few years, they've leaned a bit too heavily into the super fan, people that literally cry when they get to the island because of how much emotion they've put into the show Survivor. Big Brother, it's almost the complete opposite, where yes, there are some super fans, and we're going to talk about that here. But there is this kind of recruiting bubble that they're trying to probe, and I just don't really care for it a ton. We saw last year where I believe it was Riley. It just felt like every few days he was asking fundamental questions about Big Brother that would make even the most casual fans cringe. And that's something to me I didn't want to see too much of because it is important to know there have been some incredibly successful recruits in the history of both Survivor and Big Brother.
Yeah.
There is a history of that archetype really working out well. But for whatever reason, Big Brother in particular, the last few years, it's like, can we just find everyone from a TikTok live stream? That's what it feels like to us. So I think we veered away from that a tad, but there's still this undertone with some of these folks where it feels this is a summer where they're trying to get brand influencer deals and not necessarily vie for that $1 million paycheck.
Yeah, it is. I mean, the very first person we saw was Ashley, and I think I was texting you. I was like, "Oh, well, this feels like Blue Kim all over again with the way that she was talking, the coded words and the verbiage of how she was speaking." I was like, "This feels like these TikTok influencer-esque people." And there's a few people on this cast. I don't think it's like predominantly that. So I think I agree. It's not like we just are boxed into a corner of just that's what we're looking for. That's the archetype we're looking for. There are a few interesting people, but I kind of agree. Like when I look at this 14-person cast, I'm looking at, okay, I feel like predominantly a lot of these people are either going to be trying to, boost their following on Instagram or social media, whatever the case may be, or maybe they're going to set this show up to go on a different show. Like I think the second we saw Kamu, the MMA fighter, I seen people were talking about, well, if he's not good at Big Brother, he can go on the challenge or go on Survivor or go on these other Amazing Race, something else. So they do have those archetypes still here. But for the most part, like, and I think I brought this up to you off air, like the the age, not only one person is above 35, and that is Latrice, who's 57 years old. There was somebody else that looked like they were older than 35, but there's a lot of mid 20s in here, which is kind of typically where you get from a Big Brother cast. I mean, you don't really have that much age diversity. There's usually one token old person. I think last year that was Will, our Gamecock guy, and then this year it's Latrice. So this is typically what you get out of Big Brother cast. So I can't say I'm surprised or anything at this reveal, even though it's not the full cast yet. Maybe there's, like last year, Rachel came in as the shock on day one, as like the person who's played twice before. So maybe we get a returner in this cast. Maybe we get someone from Survivor or someone from a different CBS show in this cast to kind of spice things up. But for just these 14 people, it looks like your everyday run of the mill Big Brother cast.
By the way, the prize for Big Brother, 750,000. I forgot they have not yet adjusted for inflation. But I don't want to waste any time. We're going to put a pin in the cast expansion talk for a little bit. We're going to talk about right now who we just saw. So let's start with Ashley Trail, 24 years old, from Alton, Illinois, currently in Chicago. She is a bartender, by the way. Thank you to Sharon Tharp, who I can't believe I don't follow. So I'm going to do that right now. But thank you to Sharon for providing all of this incredible synopsis for us here to talk about. What I gathered from Ashley was that she was the antithesis of who I like on reality TV. She was just buzzword city. She was talking like she was straight out of a Reddit thread. I just hated pretty much everything about her intro. And again, I don't want to rag on these people too much. It's just 2 or 3 minutes of trying to get to know the person, but that quick introduction with her was not my favorite, to say the least.
It wasn't my favorite either. And again, I don't want to be too hard on these little 3-minute synopsis because, like you said, you're just trying to get yourself on camera and try to persuade somebody to like you or whatever it is. Like you got to come off a little bit more bubbly. And I do think that she's a bubbly person. Her strategy is to be a social butterfly. That's a theme of this cast, of everyone's strategy, trying to be a social butterfly. She's been a live feed watcher, so it's not like she's a recruit. But I mean, overall, like this is the occupation that you like last year we saw an Ashley that was supposedly kind of ditzy early on. Maybe that was her strategy as well too. I know Ashley was a attorney, but her her persona, her strategy last year, the winner of the season, was kind of to come off as a bit of a a ditz, not really all there. So I don't know what this Ashley's strategy is really going to be, but it does feel like her for just her 3-minute clip that we got. It feels like she's not going to be this strategic mastermind of the season. Like she's going to be, she's going to have fun. She's going to enjoy herself. She's got a summer in the Big Brother house. We'll see how it goes, but I'm not going to she's not my winner pick through just what we got. I mean, I don't really know what else to go off of because like you said, she just feels like she's right off of TikTok Live. I mean, it's just really one of those players that probably will annoy somebody in the house. Maybe I'm not saying, I mean, I'm not in the house, so I don't know. But maybe we'll annoy like one too many people. I do think that she's gonna be personable. Like she feels like she called herself a chatterbox. She can talk to anybody. She can talk to a fly on the wall. So maybe that'll be good for her, but that could also be a detriment to her. If you talk too much in this house, I can get you on the block and worse. So I don't know what to make of Ashley. I didn't hate her little synopsis because I just feel like that's what you get when you get these people that are going to apply for Big Brother. Like you have to be like this different person. I'm not saying she's not authentic, but I do think that she was kind of like playing up the little 3-minute clip.
Yeah, it definitely could have been for TV. It seems like she's a part of the Barstool universe in some form here. So she probably has experience on camera. And again, bartender from Chicago, you would think that breeds to talking to a lot of different types of people as well. I don't have high hopes for the most part, but we'll see. There's some people that can definitely surprise you, and you can't put a ton of stock into what we just saw. But it's all we can do. It's our only kind of look into these people. So we have to analyze what we have in front of us. Moving on here to Barrett Pfeiffer, 27, from Benton, Arkansas, now in Austin, Texas. One of my favorite occupations I've ever seen on reality TV, a Jumbotron engineer.
Yeah.
I would like to think that you're just a regular engineer and you get hired to fix Jumbotrons, but I don't really know how you find that niche.
I don't either. This one, there was a few occupations that I wrote down. I was like, interesting. Okay. Like we got a few of them. Like Jumbotron engineer stood out for me. I was like, I don't really know where to like remember in Survivor we did, okay, this person's occupation could get them in trouble. I don't know if Jumbotron engineer is on anyone's radar. I'm like, oh well, this guy You got to watch out for him. He's a jumbotron engineer. Like, I don't think that you have to really worry about that. I think it might get like some questions at the round. When they do the introductions, when they're all doing the champagne, they're like, okay, well, what do you do? So it'll be interesting to see how he talks about his occupation as a jumbotron engineer. But he's another guy that said he was chronically online, like a Reddit guy, live feeder. So that's two in a row. That's like right out of the Big Brother like superfan club. So that's totally fine, but I don't know. I don't know what to make of Barrett either. Like these are the first two that we got, and I'm like, I don't know. I mean, his strategy also is to be everybody's best friend. So if everyone's strategy is to be everyone's best friend, like where someone's strategy is not going to work. Like that's this. There's no way in a Big Brother house everyone is going to be friendly with each other, even though everyone's strategy was to be the social butterfly.
I get a little bit worried with archetypes like Barrett, where they're so enthralled with the show, they're so ingrained with the culture around it, that sometimes they enter the house and they don't really know how to apply that knowledge to the game before them. We saw it last season with Adrian, who was literally building competitions in his backyard, and he was a
Pre-juror, yeah,
pre-jury
yeah.
boot. Thank you. So Barrett, to me, he made this kind of idiom about being a caterpillar that was going to turn into a snake, something I've never heard before. But
Mm.
I do think there's something there where he does have this wealth of knowledge, and he is apparently sociable. He is very tall as well, so that could perhaps lend him to some of the competitions. He claimed he was semi-athletic. I guess we'll
Yeah.
have to see about that. Look, his jumper wasn't great in my opinion. His handle was a bit loose. It was a smidge too high for my liking. Feel like you can just poke that out. But this is someone that I think has a high ceiling and a low floor. I don't really know what we're going to get for Barrett. I think on one end, he could be sociable to an extent and a decent competitor, and that's all he needs. But on the other end, I think he could maybe, get in his head a bit because he has this perception of what he wants to be on the show, and that can hurt him in the end.
Yeah, he also said he wants to get into a showmance. Like he's not, anti-flirting with anything. So I don't know. I mean, I feel like the low floor is a good pull there. I just feel like he's one of those people that could potentially go up early as just like, well, we don't know much about Barrett. Let's throw him on the block. And now there's 3 nominees every week. I think is what they went to permanently with this AI Arena blockbuster, battle back thingy on eviction night. But again, I don't know much. I don't know what to go off of Barrett really, because I don't know like the caterpillar snake comparison was interesting. I think he's saying he's gonna try to lay low and be a number for everybody. Everybody like be everybody's friend, and then at the end stage, kind of like slither his way to the end by making some cutthroat moves, which can work. You can play a good end game and win Big Brother. But I don't know. I think he'll have to kind of navigate the early stage of this game because I feel like his archetypes do tend to go on the block early. So we'll see how that goes.
I feel like usually when you have people like this, they're not 6'6", which is no fault of his own. But I feel like that could be a detriment to his game as well, because it's easy to stand out if you're someone like Corey, who is incredibly smart and is able to kind of lend in the background. And eventually those people always get exposed, but there's a way to do it, and I feel like it is more difficult when you are, like, quite literally that large of a human being to just blend into the carpet, if you will. So, I'm a little worried about his archetype with his physical profile, but, of all the people, I think he does have a mind for the show, so Barrett, I think he definitely have some serious upside. Moving on to Chuck. Chuck Anawu? I'm sorry, Chuck. That last name's a little tough for me.
Mm. Anya
Anyanwu.
Anyanwu. There we go.
Anyanwu. Yeah. Like a Onyeka Okongwu, but a little different.
Yeah,
Chuck
not quite
Yan
Okongwu, but it's probably from the
Yanwu.
same verbiage, basically. Yeah.
Yeah, similar here. 27 from Dallas, Texas, a supply chain analyst. To me, I felt like Chuck gave us the least of everyone in his intros. He was talking about how he wanted to work with women, which he acted like had never been done before. We saw this less than 12 months ago
Yeah.
with our guy
Will.
Will. So I don't really know what he's talking about here. Maybe he was a recruit and doesn't have the history of Big Brother at his disposal. But what did you make of Chuck? I feel like we didn't get much beyond the surface level.
We didn't get much from Chuck beyond the service level. I mean, he is a supply chain analyst. That's what my mom does. So I'm like, hey, cool, Chuck. That's interesting. I don't think he'll be targeted early because of that, but I don't know. I could be wrong. Another guy from Texas. So maybe him and Barrett. That's Austin, Texas, and Dallas, Texas. So maybe him and Barrett could, you know, Lone Star State alliance potentially there. But yeah, wants to work with women. So again, that's not this like made up thing. Like that has happened before. It's not a bad strategy, honestly. If you can somehow mingle with all the women. The issue is Chuck's 27. Will was like 50 something. So it was a little bit easier for Will because the women kind of viewed him as like a dad like figure, wanting to keep him around. Chuck, I think, is another guy that was like okay with a showmance potentially. I think that a few of the people said that. I think that Chuck said it as well. So I don't know. Again, totally fine if your idea is to work with all the women to build their trust, and then they can take you far. But we didn't get much else beyond that as far as just like strategy wise. He's another guy that said he wants to play a good social game. That's kind of like a no brainer. Everyone's trying to play a good social game in this game. You want to get to the end and have people vote for you in the end, and so you have to play a good social game. So I don't know much about Chuck. I think I'm rooting for him. It just feels like a normal person. I don't know. Not that everyone else doesn't feel normal, but he just feels like a normal guy.
No, I know what you mean. He feels more down to earth, someone you'd meet on the street, as
Yeah.
opposed to some of these folks that feel like their personality is embodiment of like an online persona.
Yes, an online persona. Yeah, I don't think he's an online persona per se. I think like jumbotron engineer. We got a we we got a rocket scientist. We have a game show host. We have a MMA fighter. We have a drag queen. I just feel like he's the one that you could just run into in the street and bump heads into, and you can spark up a conversation, and you won't feel like you're talking to somebody online in public, in front of a social setting. So that's why I think I'm rooting for Chuck. But again, I don't know enough about any of these people to actually be like, oh, I'm rooting for them, because I have to get to know them more. I kind of have to peel back the onions, peel back the layers here a little bit. So I don't know. We did not get much from Chuck. I only had like one line written down, and it was that he wants to work with women. So maybe he'll be able to execute that strategy. Who knows?
Yeah, and he did mention he was a casual of the show. He would like hide behind the couch, and then eventually he'd sit on it with his mother and sister. So I'm rooting for Chuck as well. Day one client over here. Perhaps he makes us look good here, because sometimes we root for these people out of the chute, and then within a week we're just regretting our decision. It's
Whew.
why I don't do it too often. But you need someone initially. You need to have some sort of rooting interest. So Chuck's on my short list for now. Moving on to
Oh.
what I called Big Brother's answer to Rizzo from Survivor. That is Drew Campbell, age 22, excuse me, from Temecula, California. He's a surgical dental assistant.
Mm.
He is the embodiment of a frat bro. He said he graduated with honors in college, but also said he didn't know what that meant. So who
So
knows? Who knows if that's true? But
yeah.
this guy, Mike, take it away.
I don't know. I got so confused with him because at one point I was writing down, is this guy an evil genius? Is he a mastermind of the show? Then I was also writing down frat bro, dummy, like dude, bro that gets out early because he's a bit of a ditz. I don't know if this guy's smart or dumb. I have no idea. He sounded like both at certain times in this little intro video we got. He said he watched the show since he was 8 years old. He said he could write a book on the show. But then you hear him talk, and it's like, well, this guy doesn't sound like he knows anything. He sounds like one of those typical frat bros that I've met like 80 of them in my life that don't seem that smart. But he says he's more of an in the shadows guy. I do like the Rizzo comp though, because Rizzo's 25, but I kind of viewed Rizzo as like a 21-year-old kid. This guy literally is 22 years old, feels like a kid because he probably is a kid. I mean, he's probably fresh out of college, 22 years old, surgical dental assistant. Just the way he talks, I can't quite make out like if he's this super intelligent person. Again, he says he can write a book on this show, so that got me like Cochran, because Cochran said that about Survivor when he first came on. He said I could literally write a book about Survivor. I think he actually did write a piece about Survivor. So if Drew really is like this super fan, and again he says he's been watching the show since he was 8 years old, so that's 14 years of watching Big Brother constantly. He's not just some new, recruit that they just picked up off the street, even though he looks like the typical recruit that you pick up off the street. He sounds like a frat bro. So I don't know. I kind of I don't have high hopes for Drew. I'm gonna be honest with you, because it can go 10 different ways. He could be this mastermind that I didn't see coming, even though maybe I should have, or he could be this early flame out because people are rubbed off by his fratty energy. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, it is. And I really like the casting for one specific reason, because we've seen this kind of guy on Big Brother before. They tend not to do very well. I would say like early jury phase to pre-jury is usually their range of how successful they are. But with Drew, the thing that stands out to me is, yes, he's 22. Yes, he's definitely going to annoy some people. But his cast is so young, and I feel like they have a similar vibe
Yeah.
to him. So if there was ever going to be someone successful like this, it would be with this general demographic of the cast that we have before us. So I'm interested to see how that goes. I would like to see someone like this on the show for a few weeks as opposed to just a few days, which is normally their typical life cycle. Now, I could come to regret that. He could come to annoy us more so than those in the cast, but I just I love the idea of like the somewhat smart, total nonsensical, almost unaware, like, frat bro. I think that archetype is genuinely funny. It provides some good moments, especially with people like, could you imagine Drew and a Jumbotron engineer just having a conversation? Like,
No.
that to me embodies what Big Brother's supposed to be, where you have some of these wacky people converging into a house together that is supposed to be basically a reflection on the country as a whole. Now, we've divulged, as we mentioned a few times now, into like a certain that's too hyper specific for our liking. But I do like some of these broader, like almost stereotypes, because I think it really makes for good television. So confident in his knowledge of the game, and he didn't really flex any of that in his intro. It was more surface level, like, I've been watching since I was 8. I can write a book on this. I know the show. I watch the feeds, all of that. But I want to hear him actually apply some of that when he gets out of the gates here. Like, does he really know the show like that? Is he only watching the TV copy? Is he really in the weeds on the forums? On the live streams? Is he watching like Taryn, for example? I just want to
Mm.
know his level that he's at, and then I feel like we can assess more accurately.
Yeah, I think it is a good cast because I think you do need those stereotypes on a show like Big Brother. Again, the only thing that would worry me is that he's 22 years old. He is the youngest on this cast. I am looking here, but you did make a good point of like there are a few 24-year-olds on this cast. It does benefit him being on this specific cast. So there's not that many people that are over the age of 29. So, it's not like it's a new era per se. So he can probably mingle in well. I just think that mostly these 22-year-olds, as someone who's not even 20, like he's younger than me at this point. It just feel like they could
Same.
sometimes, right, like they could maybe be a little bit immature, like off the bat. I think we said about this with Love Island, where there's so many people, there's so many 21, 22-year-olds on Love Island. I would prefer they have like a bunch of 27, 28-year-olds who are a little bit more mature, and maybe you won't get all this, whatever, on that kind of show. But same thing with this kind of show. Like on reality TV, is 22 just like too early to win the game? I don't know. Maybe like if he played this game at 25, maybe he'd be a little better. But I think it's a great cast getting him at 22. As a surgical dental high.
Who's the youngest to win a show? Like Cochran was pretty young. I'm trying to think. Like who
Ian,
was?
when Ian won Big Brother, I think he was relatively young. I
Yeah,
think he
Ian was either still at Tulane
right
or
out of
right
Tulane.
after. Yeah.
Yeah. I think Steve was a little bit older. But I don't know. I mean, generally, it's tough to win when you're this. But again, I think the cast does benefit him. It's not like this cast is the cast is pretty young itself. There's a lot of 25, 24-year-olds here. So, that's only a couple years older than him. So it's not like he's going to be a fish out of water here. I just think that generally those 22-year-olds can sometimes get on people's nerves a little bit. They could get on my nerves. So I just be like, hey, he's kind of annoying. Let's get him out of here. But maybe that'll benefit him on this cast where there's a bunch of people that are similar age range.
Yeah, I feel like, to be honest, the older I get, and look, we're 24, so we're not that old here, but the age to me doesn't matter as much as like maturity level. You can be 22 and you can be more mature than the 29-year-old,
Yeah.
but again, it doesn't always work that way. Sometimes your age does reflect you, and I do think it might reflect him here.
Maybe, yeah. If he's the mature 22-year-old after the video I watched, I mean, maybe that's the case, but I don't know. I mean,
Yeah,
it didn't
I'm
sound
a
like
little
it.
worried about that.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe he just sounds like one of these frat guys I've met in life before. Like again, I said it
Yeah,
about
I mean, we went to 2 big universities, Clemson and Oregon, respectively.
You've
We've
seen Drew.
interacted with people like this. I've
Yeah.
met Drew 10 times.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. You've seen Drews. Are those Drews that you've met in real life at 22 years old? Are they the most mature people in the world?
No. They
No, not
usually
yet.
like ask for your homework. They're somewhat decent human beings. They'll make you laugh quite a bit.
Yeah.
They'll annoy you with some of the quips they have that are just so dumb you can't even believe it came out of their mouth.
And again, we're projecting onto Drew. Maybe he's not like these guys at all. We're just, but just off of what we have, like maybe he'll be that archetype. Like we're just kind of like, this is like what we do with stereotypes. Like maybe he's none of those things, but if he is, I got to expect that, like that, exactly what you just said. Like he'll probably be really fun. He'll probably be great television. I think he's going to be a really good cast if all of the things that we just said are true. Like I think he'll be a genuinely interesting character to watch. Can he win the game? I don't think so.
Hey, we can only judge what's before us, man. That's all we can do. So hopefully Drew proves us wrong. Hopefully he doesn't, actually. I feel like that would actually be pretty funny if he was just as advertised.
Yeah.
Moving on here to Haley Thogmartin, age 29,
Really?
from Neosho, Missouri, currently in Willwood, Missouri. She's a telemedicine executive, which again, another one of those interesting occupations. What did you make of Haley?
I was kind of bored by Haley. I'm gonna be honest. I don't. It's not her fault. I just think she didn't really grab me in. I thought the most interesting part about Haley was I was like, is she really 29 years old? Because if so, wow. I thought that she was a little bit older, and that's no disrespect. I just thought that she was a little bit older than 29 years old, but. She hasn't watched Big Brother until recently, so that's a little bit of a stark difference from the first four people we got, where they were like avid watchers. I mean, Chuck was more casual watching, but they keep up with the show. She had not watched it until very recently. But she's another one that says she can make friends easily. I believe she mentioned that she can talk to a fly, so that should really help her in Big Brother. But it just felt like when she was talking, it didn't feel like the bubbliness of the first four people, which I'm totally cool with, by the way. Like I don't want you to be this over. I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, but like you're acting as if, not as authentic. I think she came off more authentic. It just didn't really rope me in. Like I just didn't really, me personally, I just didn't really care. But I think the way, like how she was speaking, I feel like okay, she's not like overdoing it for the cameras. Feels like she's just speaking her mind, speaking her piece. I just don't know what to make of I didn't catch what her actual strategy was. Maybe that was just me because I missed it.
I
Um,
think it was more of being social like other people talked about. For her, for me, the thing was pretty evident where she might just be like the smiley straight face of the cast, which is totally fine. We need people
yeah,
like that, but they don't lend well to 2 or 3 minute clips for a camera like we just watched. So
yeah,
it's not her fault. I think she could be really good if she is more strategical and more like centered with her strategy. But again, it just doesn't help when you're trying to put on for the camera.
yeah,
So again, no fault of her own. I think she could be great. It's just someone that's tough to evaluate given what we just had to sit through, which was kind of a comedy ritual from Big Brother where people are literally emoting in between
yeah,
their sentences, which is just where the producer's like, okay, you're gonna do the mustache now after that sentence. You're gonna do the covering your eyes and opening them up. Like I don't really understand what that was all about, but
yeah.
it didn't
I,
seem like it was Haley's vibe, and that's totally fine. I actually respect that. It wouldn't be
yeah.
mine either.
No, that's fine. Like she doesn't work for this 2 to 3 minute clip, but she might work for this game. Like I think
Yeah.
mostly people were emoting while they were describing whatever they were talking about. She was kind of just like I don't want to say dull or vanilla, but she wasn't over the top emote like how they cut to the different clip of them doing like Ashley for example. You could have like 27 different emotes in that 2 minute clip that we got. Haley was a little bit more watered down, which is again totally fine. But we only have the 2 minutes that we got of these people, so I really don't know much about her personality yet. I think we will once again the live feeds are everyone watches that, so maybe she'll be like a really good Big Brother player. I just don't know enough about her through the 2 minutes that we got.
By the way, think we needed more people like Haley to kind of balance other folks out. So I'm excited for her. She's someone that I think could definitely have, again, some upside. So, I mean, we'll have to see. Moving on to Jason DePoy. He is also a drag queen, which is says in his occupation. I didn't catch his drag name, but he's 35 from San Francisco, California, now lives in West Hollywood. From what I've been able to gather, and I apologize if this is incorrect, he's been in the RuPaul Drag Race sphere. I believe he mentioned he was on All Stars. He went out on either day
6, I think.
six or the sixth episode a few times. So he wants to avoid the number six at all costs. We thought before we got on and watched all of this that there was this prevailing rumor where it was going to be like half of the cast being newbies and the other half being in like the reality show sphere of some type. That's what the general vibe was from some of the leaks that we saw. So when I saw Jason, I'm like, okay, we're starting to get that. That didn't necessarily come to fruition yet, but he's someone that I think like the Big Brother community is going to love. He's a drag queen and they're going to eat that part up.
Yeah.
And I think when you are a drag queen, you're performing all the time. So that's going to lend well to Big Brother, where you're going to have to be dramatic and people really enjoy that kind of discourse when you have someone like Angela who's been rumored for the cast. Imagine Angela interacting with Jason.
Ooh.
That could be straight fireworks. I don't mind someone like Jason being on the cast whatsoever that can maybe stir up some trouble at different points.
Yeah, the first thing I saw when Jason was talking the drag queen stuff, he also said it was a live theater. He's watched since Big Brother 16. Big Brother 16 was Frankie Grande, his season, Derek, Cody, those guys. He also said he's Latino, and then immediately following that said he can get loud, and then that got me thinking of BB19, which is with Josh, with the pots and pans, and he wins the season against Paul. Josh also just recently played another Big Brother. I think it was Big Brother, but it was like the Spain version or Mexico. I don't exactly know what it was.
Mexico, I think, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So he was in. It was, I guess, a longer version, and he immediately came out and said, "I'm rooting for this guy, Jason." So I think again, I've seen his archetype in the past, Jason. I don't think we've had a drag queen per se on the show, but I've seen just Jason's personality and his archetype on the show before. So I definitely think you need it. You need one of these. You need some of these people on the show for sure. Like I'm actually pro getting different archetypes. I don't want 7 of the same people. So there's no other Jason on this cast so far, which is good. I don't know. I don't know how it'll be again. He could get loud, which is again confrontational. It could work on some seasons, could not work on other seasons. I don't know enough about all these people yet to know if it'll work on this specific season. But if like D plays this season, D's another Latina who can get confrontational. Like that could be one of those things where if there's different people on the show that are both trying to do the same thing, maybe there'll be a resolution there that maybe doesn't go well for one of the 3 people or whatever it is. So I don't know. I think I like Jason's personality, but from the 2 to 3 minute clip we got, I don't know enough about. Again, people probably, if you watch the RuPaul's Drag Race stuff and you already know him, maybe then you'll know more about what he actually is if he's been on these shows before. But again, it's one of those things where I'm gonna have to figure out more than just the 3 minutes that we got of him.
Curious to see if Jason is able to kind of figure out when he should get loud and when he shouldn't.
Mm,
Because I feel like Josh didn't have that on and off switch. And yes, he won, but he won in such a hyper specific way. You can't really replicate that. So if Jason can kind of pick his moments a bit more and is very emotionally aware, I think he's someone that could really do well on Big Brother. If he doesn't have that gear, and again, we're not privy to the RuPaul stuff, so perhaps he does have that. I don't know why you get like voted out, if you will, on RuPaul. I don't know that.
I don't either.
So I don't know if it was because he was annoying them or if he wasn't like dragging to their standards. I truly have no idea. So I'm curious to hear like what that universe thinks of Jason as well in the coming
Well,
days. It feels like everyone's rooting for him. It does seem like he was a fan favorite.
I agree, and I think the one thing that he's got as a advantage, like Josh when he won, I think he was 22 or 23 years old. He was a kid when he won, and then like he has matured. Seeing him on the challenge, and seeing on all these other different shows, like he's still the same loud personality, but he's a little bit more picking and choosing when he wants to get confrontational. Like in Big Brother 19, the on and off switch was whenever Paul said, "Hey Josh, go annoy them," he would go annoy them. He was like this big dumb kid that everyone just kind of bossed around. It was like, "Hey Josh, go piss them off in the morning by doing something annoying," and he would do that. And obviously, people were more anti-Paul that season than they were anti-Josh, because they were like, okay, well, at least Josh can annoy me, and you're doing it in the shadows. We don't really respect your way of disrespect, I guess. Jason's 35 years old. He's not a kid, so I think he'll be more emotionally intelligent or have better EQ than Josh did. And again, Josh won the season, so I think if people just generally like Jason, and he doesn't get too annoying to the point where like Josh did in 2019 or in Big Brother 19, I think he absolutely could do well in this game. I just think his archetypes generally do well. They're just social butterflies. Again, I don't know enough about the RuPaul Drag Race stuff, but I do think that those people are tend to be good social players.
100%, because I feel like they understand how to navigate pretty much every type of person that they encounter. So I'm curious to see how Jason is able to adapt to the BB house. Moving on here to Kamu Kirk, age 32, from Phoenix, Arizona. He's an MMA fighter. He had a very brief stint in the UFC. He was on Dana White's Contender Series. I understand most people that are watching this don't know what that is. Basically, it is trying out to see if you can make it in the UFC as a whole. And he had a cup of coffee there. He's mostly one of those like mid to low end promoter fighters, if you will. So not a huge name in the MMA sphere. We did not know who he was until 10 minutes ago.
10 minutes ago, yeah.
So that's pretty much all you need to know about that. I will say this, Mike, before we talk about Kamu Kirk at all. If this guy is rude or lambastic in any way, there is going to be a very strong contingent against this casting choice
Yeah.
because MMA fighters are not necessarily known to be the most down to earth people. Even the most likable MMA fighters seem to get into trouble at some point. I think we're both Dustin Poirier guys. 2 weeks ago, he was like yelling at a police officers and threatening to fight them. Like
It's gonna be bad.
it just, yeah, it's not great. So I feel like this is a bit of a risky cast choice. So I really hope Kamu Kirk kind of is able to dispel some narratives here and be actually a stand up citizen.
I do too. I mean, the vibe I got from him was that he's not going to be that kind of person. I think he said he's too trusting. He wants to get along with everybody. That kind of reminded me of Keanu, like last season, of like I'm too trusting to people, and they're going to play right in my face, and I'm gonna look like an idiot. So I think that's what he said is one of his weaknesses. Like he could just trust you to be overly trusting, and then he'll get blindsided potentially. So I don't think he's going to be this strategic mastermind. He did say he's obsessed with Dan's funeral. Thought that was pretty funny. I was like, okay, so he's watched Big Brother. I mean, that was
But to be honest, that's kind of like level one for Big Brother. Like everyone's obsessed with Dan's funeral. Like, give me something a little more. We got a Keisha's birthday shout. Like
yep,
again, can we just go like maybe beyond that first like YouTube top 5 Big Brother moments?
yeah,
Can we just go the next level? Like even like give me like a Frankie winning by himself in
yeah.
the NFL comp. Give me something like that that is still sort of surface level, but again, like a step up.
Yeah, shout out Donnie and Zach, and then Frankie did that without Caleb. Yeah, I mean something a little bit more like instead of like the thumbnail headliners that you see on YouTube of like Dan's funeral, um, getting called Judas on live television. There's been a few Dan moments. Now that I think about it, him swearing on the Bible to Frank in the carrot suit. Yeah, I mean, I get it for sure. I don't know what to make a comment. I think that potentially he could be one of those people that he's going to be athletic. He's more athletic than anyone there. He's a professional. He was a professional UFC fighter. So maybe he'll be good at the challenges. We'll see if by being good at the challenges, maybe he can actually work some relationships. But again, he said he's too trusting to people. That could be a downfall in a game like this, I think. So I don't think his archetype will win the game. But again, I don't know what to make of him. Like, is he going to be too nice? Is he going to try to, hide the stereotype of like, because you can kind of tell he's a fighter of some sort. He said he got the cauliflower ear, he's got the messed up nose. Like you can kind of infer, you can put the puzzle pieces together and say, okay, this guy fought before or was in some type of athlete in his time. I think he said he's not going to tell them that he went to the UFC specifically, but he's going to tell them that he was a fighter in his days. But I don't know if playing that down.
Yeah, I don't think the average person that isn't a huge sports fan can differentiate between being like a professional wrestler, not like the WWE kind, like the Olympic kind,
Yeah.
and a MMA fighter, or even like doing judo and stuff. I don't think people know the ins and outs and the nuances of that. So
Yeah.
I think he should be fine unless someone just happened to watch the Volt card he was on and was like, "Oh, I remember
Like,
that
hang on a
guy."
second,
Like,
you were in the
I,
UFC, yeah. Yeah, so
I
I
think
don't
he
think
can
like, he
get
can
away with
easily
it.
lie. Yeah, he can easily lie and be like, "I was never in the UFC, I was just a fighter." Which again, I don't know if it really matters, but again, I don't think there's anyone on this cast that's gonna check and be like, "No, I saw you in that Volt card, you're lying." So I think he'll be able to that's one of those you can tell half truths, not tell the whole truth. Like, yes, I was a fighter, but I wasn't. Like some of the people say, I think the next girl or 2 girls from now, she's not gonna tell them that she's an attorney. She's gonna say something else. But with him, he can just say, "Yeah, I was a fighter, but I just wasn't in the UFC," and maybe they'll buy that.
Yeah, I think they will. There's really no reason they shouldn't. Moving on here to Latrice Verrett, 57, from Kankakee, Illinois, now lives in Maplewood, New Jersey. She's a boutique salesperson, which is a bit interesting. She
Yeah.
is, as Mike describes, the token old person on the cast. And I don't
Sorry.
think that's defamatory in any way because this is something we've become accustomed to now in Big Brother. I don't know why they do this, to be honest. And it's not a shot at her. If you're going to do this, why not skew the ages a little bit more? Like, do we have anyone in their 40s on this cast, Mike?
No, we have a 35-year-old, a 32-year-old. No, we don't.
So,
57. No, we don't.
like, I feel like this is putting her in a tough position here that you could have pushed some of those 20 something year olds and had like a 42-year-old, a 45-year-old, and have a little bit more of a,
Even
normal
yeah.
range of ages here instead of having a million 20 somethings 2 early 30s folks, and then a 57-year-old. I feel like that's simply not fair to her, but she does seem like a fun cast. I think she fits the older archetype very well. She mentioned that she's now a divorced mom, so if there's anyone single out there for her that catches her fancy, she's in. I hope she likes a younger man because that's her only options.
Yes.
But I mean, what did you make of her? I thought she was really fun, to be honest.
She was fun. I think she said she's a mother of four, divorced mother of four, but not afraid to hit up some of these new guys. But again, like you said, there's no one even in their 40s for her. So I wish that she wasn't the token old person on the cast. Like I wish there was more of like, if you're gonna have an old person, can you at least have two or three of them so that they're not just like the only one? Because then everyone early on they're gonna be like, well, she's old, she can't mingle in with these young folks. So let's just put her on the block. And that's not really fair. That's what Will was the first like 3 or 4 weeks last season. He was just on the block. No one wanted to get rid of him. But they were just like, yeah, let's put him on the block. He's not going to be able to really like, do anything about it. Like he's old. Like and it was again, it's not derogatory. It was just one of those things that he's the only one there. So in these early weeks, you just try to find any differentiation to use to put somebody on the block, and any reason at all. Her being 57, you could use as a reason to just put someone on the block. It's maybe not the right reason, but early on you don't really have much to go off of. So her just being the token old person, again, I say token because she is the only one over 40. Like you couldn't, maybe one of these new late additions are going to be older than 35, hopefully. But it doesn't bode well for her being on a cast of this many young people. Can she be a social butterfly? She says she's a social game player, but she said that she'll surprise people physically despite being the oldest person here. She says she's done like athletic things in the past. She's also been watching since season 2, so I think she's a really perfect cast. I just wish that I wish that her and Will maybe were on the same season. Maybe they were casted together. I know Will has a chocolate drop at home, so I'm not trying to, I'm not trying to do that. But I'm just saying, like, yeah, she's the only person over 40, so it's a little bit tougher for her to, even if she wanted to have like a showmance or just like a friendship relationship with someone that's her age, she can't do it on this cast, at least not right now.
Yeah, the only issue that I see, and we've seen it in the past, I remember Felicia talks about this as well. When you are one of or the only person of a certain age, it just really weighs on you more because you try to have this almost like maternal relationship with these folks, but they're so much younger than you. It's hard to find things in common. It's hard to find things to talk about. And I feel like when you are trapped in a house like this, it is just that much more difficult to manage everything. So I do feel bad for her in that sense as well, because she is so full of life. She is so bubbly. Will that element of it weigh on her? And then all of a sudden, this awesome person who is a great cast, you didn't surround her with people that could really elevate her stock here. And then all of a sudden, you're on day 30 and she's talking about how she wants to go home because she can't find anything in common with these people. That's possible as well. So I hope it's not that for her. I hope she enjoys herself because I think she's someone that, again, a younger spirit could blend really well in. And it seems like she has a mind for the show. As you talked about, she's been watching for so long.
Yeah.
When you have that kind of mileage with a show like this and you are of this age, there's going to be that element of like being starstruck when you walk in. But I do think the portfolio of having knowledge of like literally every scenario that comes up in Big Brother, that could be a really big advantage.
I did, yeah. Like if we were doing a draft, like I would want her on my team. Like I really would. I think that she's going to be like again. I said that she might have a disadvantage because she's the older person here, but I do think that she's one of those people that be like, people view her as like the mother of the season. Like they want to keep her around because she reminds them of home. That's kind of how Will was able to string along past a few votes early on. They were like, I don't want to get rid of Will right now because he feels like he's close to home for me. Some of these people said. So when you're pulling at the heartstrings like that, I think that she can be a person that kind of survives those early votes because again, people want to keep her around because she's so full of life, like you mentioned. And then maybe she'll surprise people later on, post jury, whatever it is, whatever the case may be. So I don't know. I don't have too high of hopes because again, the age is a real thing, unfortunately. And you don't see that many 50-something-year-olds win these shows nowadays, especially because there aren't that many casted. This is a simple fact is like there's mostly 20 to 30-year-olds, and then maybe one or two you sprinkle in a 50-year-old here and then, and it's just like the percentage is so low of those people casted that they really can't win the show. Not saying it's impossible, but it's just like the low number is the low number. So can she win the show? I don't know, but I think she will be a good cast. I think she could go far.
Moving on here to Lyric Medeiros, age 25, from Honolulu, Hawaii. She's an attorney. From what I gathered, she's also a semi-influencer. She
Yep.
has like 450,000 on Instagram and has a lot on
TikTok,
TikTok, I
yeah.
believe, as well. So she's a bit online too. Her dad was sort of this one hit wonder. I was skeptical at first. I Googled the song and it came up that it was 49th on the Belgian chart. So I'm like, hold on, what are we talking about here? But it seems like he either covered that song or just made a song of the same name as that Belgian record. And it did do very well. It came out in, I believe, the 80s, and it has almost 100 million views on YouTube, which is saying a lot all those years later. So she was right. My bad for even doubting Lyric. And you mentioned it earlier. She doesn't want to mention she's an attorney. She probably will just go with the, hey, I'm an influencer thing, which isn't a lie either. So that
Yeah.
should be easy enough for her. What did you make of Lyric here, who was doing a lot of like yoga poses on the beach throughout her intros?
Yeah, this is my type of player for this kind of game. Like this is my type of Big Brother player generally. She wants to be a comp piece. That was the first thing she said. She didn't say I want to be a social. I mean, she did say she wanted to be a social player too, but she did say that she was ultra competitive. She's a gym rat. She said I think the thing she mentioned is like I'm still single because I'm in the gym every single day. Like I'm never out of the gym essentially. She also said that she passed the bar as the youngest person in Hawaii at the time, something like that, and that her friends call her a jack of all trades. So we'll see. Again, you're putting a high bar on yourself. So I'm now expecting good things from Lyric because she kind of was spending the whole time hyping herself up so much. So I have no choice now but to expect her to do really well. So if she flames out, I'm gonna look like an idiot. But again, I'm kind of just going off of her 3 minutes here. So she kind of looks like she has everything, all the makings of a good player. Like maybe she'll get herself in trouble. I don't know. Maybe she'll say the wrong thing or whatever. But it feels like she can win her way off the block potentially. Feels like she's a perfect age range for this 25. She is an attorney, which again, the last Big Brother winner was also an attorney. If she can keep that hidden, ideally, then she could possibly win the game. Maybe you can use that at the end as like, hey, I'm the final two, but you didn't know this entire time I was an attorney. We've seen that so many times before. So I have high hopes for Lyrics because again, she gave me a reason to have high hopes.
I wonder, and I always wonder this when we get people like Lyric introducing themselves. She is a baller, and there's no other way to describe it as like this hyper successful person. But sometimes that does come with this air of arrogance where you become kind of unaware of how braggadocious you might seem. And that could really, really get you in trouble in games like Big Brother when you're talking all day long and it is such a marathon of a game. So I like Lyric as well. It feels like she can be a 5 tool player where she can be social. She has a mind for it. She could be great in the competitions. She could build alliances very well as someone that you could just see slotting in with all these different types of people. And she is 25, so she's in like that perfect age
Yeah.
while also being an attorney, perhaps a bit more mature for her age, given all that she had to go through just to become an attorney. But again, if she is a bit too arrogant, that could really kind of bite her in the butt, and that could be all she wrote way early on in this game.
Yeah, it feels like she's lived the life of a 35-year-old from from all the things we've gotten in our 3 minute clip. Feels like she's done a lot. And like you said, I think she has like 400,000 followers or something like that. And she's only 25 years old. So again, maybe she gets herself in trouble because she's too cocky, too confident, too overconfident. She thinks that no one can beat her or anything or something like that. But I don't know. Again, through the 3 minutes that we got, it feels like she's got all the makings of somebody who should do well. But again, on this show, you make one wrong move, one bad mistake. Maybe she gets too confrontational with somebody, and it bites her in the ass. So we'll see. But again, through the 3 minutes that we got, I feel like she was of the hopes of everyone here. She had the high hopes for me as far as like everyone in this cast. I'm like, okay, they should do well on paper. They should do really well in this game.
Yeah, I do agree with that. Moving on here to Mallory Riccio, 24 years old from the township of Washington in New Jersey. She is a rocket scientist, and all I was seeing when she was talking was Sarah Beth.
Oh boy. Yeah, no, I got interesting vibes from her. She's gonna tell people that she's a waitress. Did you catch that too? That's what she.
Yeah, I mean, you have to be a little more clever than that. And here's the thing, Mike, with us glasses folks. So,
Oh, sorry. No,
for,
no. I apologize. That was Melody that says she's going to tell people she's a waitress. So, Mallory is the rocket scientist. Okay, my bad. Yeah,
yeah, she said she was
yeah.
gonna lie too, though. I believe, right?
Yes, yes, she was going to
I
lie
just
as
don't
well. Yeah,
remember what she said she was gonna if she gave a reason.
yeah.
I was saying here about how us glasses folks have it a bit tough because if I said that I was I don't know, unemployed. People are like, "I don't believe you. You look smart." And I'm like, "Why? Because I have shitty vision?" Like, that doesn't make any sense. So, Mallory's gonna have a tough time pulling off like, "Oh, I'm just a waitress," or "I'm just a Target employee," which is, again, not even it makes no sense at all. It is so ridiculous. People like Mallory work as rocket scientists. They work at, again, Kroger. They work everywhere because people of all different types work at all different types of places.
Yeah.
I don't know why. We've seen it numerous times in Big Brother and Survivor where people like this cannot lie about their occupation without being semi caught because they'll just look at her and be like, nah, no, you look like a rocket scientist or something like that. It bugs the crap out of me. I just had to get that out of the way.
Yes, she's not going to tell people that she's a rocket scientist and this smart whiz, but I don't know what she's going to lie and say that she is. So that's TBD. Her strategy is also again to rely on her social game. She says she has a little bit of all three, on the physical side and the strategic side. So again, we'll see with Mallory, 24-year-old rocket scientist from New Jersey. Again, you should be good at the game. That's just on. If you just looked at the strip of whatever your occupation is, like you should be able to be good with all the strategy levels in this game. And again, if she's a bubbly person, if she's not like Kelly of last season who knew nothing about a Big Brother, but she also had the glasses, so people kind of just assumed that she was smart and knew what she was talking about, but she was like really not at all.
Yeah, and then she talked for too many weeks in a
Oh
row,
my
and then
gosh,
they were
so
like,
many.
"Ah, no, never mind."
Not a good ally to have. So maybe Mallory is the complete opposite of that, and that would be beneficial for her. Even though Kelly did make it kind of far. So we'll see with Mallory. Again, I don't know enough to it was kind of similar to Haley, where I just don't know enough to really give a strong opinion yet.
I'll say this, if she can work with the right type of people and get in an alliance early, she's someone I think could win this show based off what we've seen so far. Now, the problem with these type of people often becomes how social can they be? We saw Ian came into the house and he like never had been on a date before. They set up a date for him and he was just really socially unaware. If you rewatch that season, the first few weeks, he is trying to do like everything to impress these people. He's like streaking and taking his clothes off and like flinging his pants above his head. It's just very strange because he doesn't really know how to engage with people. I don't know Mallory at all. I felt from the 2 or 3 minute clips we got of her, she seems to be a lot more social than what I perceived Ian was entering the house all that time ago. I think she's more like Steve, where she's a bit quirky, and that could be a turnoff to some people, but it could also be very welcome to other people because could be very sweet as well and someone that's fun to talk to. So I
Right.
do have high hopes that Mallory can kind of merge both being social and also being smart and using that to her advantage and not be seen as a kind of an issue going forward.
What I did like about what she said in one of her answers was that her biggest strength is her confidence. So she's not going to be this like she might be socially awkward, but she's going to be very confident in doing so. Like she's not going to be one of those people that gets insecure about other people maybe not talking to her or maybe talking about her. That's why I thought Ian was so good because while Ian in the first like couple of weeks was trying to do everything to get himself kicked off by doing some like pretty strange stuff, he was super confident, super likable. That eventually he got pulled into that alliance with Dan and Brittany and Danielle and Shane. So I think Mallory probably can come off as a little bit more like, or like Steve too, where she's just very confident in herself, and she comes across really well. So she could absolutely win the game. We've seen her archetype win the game before, for sure.
Moving on a bit here to Melanie Morris, age 24 from Thornton, Colorado. She's currently in Maricopa, Arizona. What is a corporate game show host, by the way? Does that mean you go to like the Fortune 500 companies and you're running game shows as kind of like a fun night for them? What does that even mean?
I have no idea. This was the person that said she was going to tell people she's a waitress. So this could pass for sure. I don't think anyone would guess that she's a corporate game show host. That's not something typically people guess anyway about occupations.
Didn't know that was a thing.
No,
So
so that won't come up. So I don't think she has to. She can easily lie about that. I don't think she really wants to tell people she's a game show host, which again I don't know if that really matters. But she says she's a good listener, but that she's also very sensitive. So I think that could be pretty interesting as far as like if someone says something that she kind of takes as like the wrong way, is she going to be super uptight about it and kind of let it like as like hold a grudge against somebody? So I don't know with Melody.
Mike, can I jump in? That is the most cliche statement someone could possibly give in one of these intros. I laughed when she said it, and I laughed when you said it
Yeah.
just now. Because, like, I don't understand what she was trying to portray here. So her job is cool, objectively. It
Yeah.
is a cool thing to be a corporate game show host, whatever that might entail. But the fact that her two things were she was sensitive and wanted to lie about this occupation that no one would sniff from a mile away anyway, I was immediately out. I just don't think you get it. I just don't think you get it. And I hope I'm wrong. I want all of these people to be great television and have upside and all of these people be great contenders and have a chance to win the show. But she is someone that stuck out immediately. And I'm like, I'm not seeing it. Sorry. I'm not.
Yeah, I'm not really seeing it either. I thought when it was funny, her strength is that she's a great listener. Her weakness is that she's very sensitive. I actually want her to be sensitive. I think it makes for great television. When you're sensitive on television and you get into people's faces, if you're confrontational, which I don't know if she will be, but I want good television. I want people that are the opposite of whoever they're interacting with. Like I think it makes for great television when you're the complete different type of personality than somebody else. So I don't know how she's going to work as far as this game goes. I don't know if she can, I don't know if she'll win the game, but I really do hope that she's good TV. Like I want good television out of these casting people. So again, 24 years old in that there's a lot of 24-year-olds, just like Mallory, just like Ashley, a lot of 24-year-old women. So we'll see. We'll see if that blends into an alliance or something like that. But I do hope she's good television. I just don't know how well she'll do in the game.
I wonder if she's using Big Brother as a platform to get to the game show network.
Yeah,
Like she's like, oh, the corporate stuff too low level. Like, what
this
if
is a
I
step
can
up.
go host some unique game show on the game show network?
Yeah,
I could see it.
I could too.
Moving on here to this fella, Jack, aka Rome Seymour, 28,
This will be
from
fun.
Traverse City, and he's now residing in Delray Beach, Florida. Dude, this guy, a pickleball coach as well. I could not dislike someone more in
He'll
2
be
minutes than
Yeah.
this guy. Oh my goodness. When you use the word beta and alpha unironically in your first sentence, introducing who you are as a person, I believe he said like the submissive and beta types are going to work really well with me.
Yeah.
Oh
What are
my,
those
like
types?
what the hell are we doing?
Yeah, that was strange. He said he collects trading cards. I was there for a second, and then he was like, everything after that was just weird. He talks a lot of trash, super competitive, wants to win all the challenges. I honestly, again, I'm not gonna be rooting for this guy at all, but I do think it's a good person to cast on a show like this. I think it's genuinely, I want to see somebody on this cast like that is just like not, again, he's got a loud mouth. He loves conflict. He's fine with it. I think it's gonna be like he's gonna get into like a knockout on Big Brother After Dark on the live feeds. He's gonna get into a big confrontation with somebody. I guarantee it's gonna happen because it's something minuscule. So again, I think it's gonna be very interesting television. But again, he's just not somebody that no one's gonna root for this guy. Like no one's gonna root for him. There's no chance that he's gonna be America's darling sweetheart. Like you can of everyone in this 14-person cast here, I can guarantee you unequivocally he will not win America's Favorite House Guest.
Plus 200, he gets kicked off the show outright.
Yeah,
I feel like the odds have to be fairly low.
he
for
will
that.
not win the game. There's no way he'll win the game, and there's no way he'll win America's Favorite House Guest. I would bet my money on him being the villain of the season. I think if you want to do like a heroes versus villains, he will be the person that no one likes coming out of the season. I think
We like villains, but when you're like this type of villain, I don't know. When it's almost like a comedic, such lowbrow, this guy is clearly just out to lunch. I'm not sure that's the kind of villain I want. I prefer if you're just more of like an actual bad person. If you're more of like the Russell Hantz type, like I just always preferred that, where you're kind of like mean to people's faces and you're not doing this like beta alpha crap. I just prefer those folks over this.
Well, I would too, but I think this is like the new age like version of villain where we get these kind of like buzzwords.
Because I feel like you throw them with 13 other people, and your logic as a producer is like, we want everyone to like gang up on this guy and show him like he sucks, and we can all kind of like come together. And that's fine, I guess, but he's just going to be so annoying for however long he stays in. I just don't know if it's worth it. To me, and we've talked about this before, there is villains and there's go away villains. And a villain is someone that you like to root against, and a go away villain is like, get this guy off my TV. I don't even want to root against them. I just don't want to like have to listen to him or subject myself to him any further. I feel like Rome simply falls into the latter.
Yeah, he does. I think that's Again, I do think it's like a good thing to cast people like that, though. Like, again, I don't think they can find truly authentic Russell Hantz people anymore. I think that's like done in our. I wish it wasn't, but I think that's genuinely done in our casting for CBS as a whole. I think they're done casting just genuinely bad people. I think they want to cast people like Rome who will be disliked. They will be disliked by America in today's America. They will not. No one will like this person, and I won't either. But I do think it's like there's going to be other people that are also annoying and also villains that we don't know yet. Like we know off the bat he's going to be annoying, he will be disliked. There will be a few other on this cast also, maybe not to the same level as him, but they will, after the show, people are like, man, they were the real villains of this season. Rome was just an annoying asshole, but these people are really the worst ones of the cast. So I don't know who those people will be yet, but off of these 3 minutes, we can know without a shadow of a doubt that Rome will not be liked.
Yeah,
Absolutely
and
liked.
even last year, I think people saw Vinny in a way in that light too, where he was almost this anti-hero. He had a big contingent behind him of how strategic he was, but then he also had this other side of the fandom that was just sick of his antics with Morgan and how he wasn't being super receptive to other people, and then his relationship back home suffering because of all of that.
Yeah.
So, they come in all forms and shapes and sizes and all of that stuff, but he's gonna be one that I definitely have his
Oh,
name circled. I hope he's not as insufferable as this 2 to 3 minutes suggested he would be,
I
but
kind of hope he is as insufferable as those two men. Honestly, I don't want to. I want to be dancing on his grave when he leaves the Big Brother house. I really do. I don't. I shouldn't say that. I should say that he shouldn't be that bad. But I do want. I want some conflict. I want him to be like an. I want him to be a prick a little bit.
yeah, because at least if he gets his comeuppance, at least that'll be entertaining, and that'll be a fine surface level first week storyline too. So you definitely have a point there.
Build is
Moving on.
following up. Yeah, Build is following up a little bit. Yeah.
For sure. Moving on to someone that I think definitely is starting to garner fans from what I've seen on social media. Look at this, Mike. So
Mm.
if we go up here, so Melody, her picture is 293 likes, right? Rome has 291. Taylor has 764. She's someone I've seen just
Yeah.
take like fire to the Big Brother community so far. She's 27. She's from Deerfield Beach, Florida. She is an elementary school counselor. And I do want to say one thing, and this is no shade at Taylor because I liked her intro, but there was one part of it that was a little confusing to me. So she was talking about how she had to deal with conflict better. She was reading a book currently. She's an elementary school counselor. Isn't that your entire job to deal with conflict on behalf of other people?
Yeah, it should be. I was so. I think she'll be good. I'm so confused by like I wrote 4 different notes for her. She said that she's that girl, and she'll be able to be strategic, social, and competitive. I want to just run this by you. So her game plan, because I wrote down everyone's strategy. That was the biggest thing to me. Her game plan is to have a 3-part team. She's going to
Mhm.
work with the lead floater. So whoever the floaters are, she wants to work with the lead floater, and then the other 2 people on the other 2 teams. I was getting a little lost here. Is she saying there's gonna be 2 different alliances of the house? She's gonna be one of them, the other person of the other alliance in the house, and then the lead floaters. Is that like because I've seen in the challenge before, you work with a different side of the house to kind of like throw people into elimination. But is she trying to say that in Big Brother you can work with 3 different alliances, but the floaters aren't an alliance? You know what I'm saying? Like I was so she was kind of losing me because she was like, I want to work. Did you catch that too, or was I like just
And it was one of those things. I kind of understand what she's saying. So traditionally, the way most Big Brother seasons have worked, and again, not all, just most, there are these 2 contingents of the house, and then there's folks in the middle that can perhaps work with either side, or they just stay in the middle and they kind of try to avoid the grenades being launched from each side, and you duck and you just hope you're not struck, and you see how far you can get with that before there's enough casualties on each side, and then you get into that later phase in the game where there's 8 7 people left, and then it's a free for all to the end. I think what she meant is early on, there's probably going to be 2 sides that align with each other, and there's
yeah,
going to be people left in the dust in the middle. And I think she thinks that whatever side she ends up on, she can also work with people in the middle to show that she is well rounded, but also be good with the other side. So that way she's not being targeted
yeah,
and she can almost be like a spokesperson. That's what it kind of
yeah,
sounded to me, almost political, as like, you take these countries out, but make sure we're good. Like, yes, we're aligned with them, but we're also cool with you. So don't mind us over here. That's kind of what I was garnering. If she
yeah,
can pull that off, that's brilliant. The
Yeah.
problem is I feel like that's way too convoluted, and I've never seen anyone come close to be able to replicate anything like that.
It's
So,
tough
I
as Big
mean,
Brother,
power
yeah.
to her.
I think it's yeah, like she kept saying team, but you're right. I think she meant like the sides of the house. Like there's always in the first couple weeks after the dust settles, there's usually two sides of the house. Depending on who wins HOA, she starts seeing the sides, the line in the sand get drawn of like, okay, this side of the house is being targeted this week. Next week it might be that side of the house that gets targeted, and it might get picked off one by one like that. And then you have your middle people, which in Survivor we kept calling them middle people, but in Big Brother the word is floaters. That's what they use. They like the word floaters. They're just kind of floating by. So again, maybe there's somebody that is like I think Vinny honestly last year was like in the early stage that he was looked at as like one of those middle swing vote people. Him and Morgan, not Morgan, him and I'm forgetting the other guy's name, but they were like the swing votes, and they were the ones that got
Zach.
out. Yes, Zach. They were the ones that got out Adrian. That kind of put the line in the sand of like, okay, they picked their side officially, but they are still working with both sides of the house, kind of. So if she can work with both sides of the house, which I think is what she was trying to get at, also then working with somebody like it's a little bit of like what Vinny did last year. So again, it would be very convoluted if she can pull it off. I don't think Vinny was actually, I don't think that was actually his strategy. Like and then he had the thing with Morgan. So I don't know. It was weird, but if she can pull off this exact strategy and execute it, that would be really interesting and see if she's in the final two chairs and she can explain that side of her game.
I'm saying it right now. She'd be an all-timer. If she could come in with the strategy that it has that many layers, execute it, and then make it to the finals and win, put her on Mount Rushmore. The problem is,
Well,
I think the player is really good, and it could be one of those things. She could be so smart. She's coming in with this layered plan. It could work for a little while and then dissipate. It could not work from the get-go. Who knows? I would like to see how she adapts to that, because sometimes we've talked about this in the past. People come in that are fans of the show that have this framework in mind of how they think they want to play and how they think they can play, and it doesn't always translate. And we've seen some people change the strategy and it worked brilliantly, and we've some people kind of dig their heels in and then they wonder why they go out early. They're like, yeah, just thought it'd work, and it's very apparent that it was never going to work, so it made no sense why you did that in the first place. So we'll see how
it was
Taylor is here. I feel like, I mean, look, she's an elementary school counselor. You think she has an open mind? So
That's what I was going to say, but also the only thing that also kind of turned me off a little bit was that she said that her biggest strength is her social game. She's very likable, but her biggest weakness is also her mouth. She can talk too much maybe and turn people off in the same way as like I feel like I can say similar things like in my everyday life. I have a social group that like no one dislikes me in that social group, but then there's other people that don't like other people in that other group. But I'm good with them. But then I also could talk too much and then turn people off, and then they'll be like, well, that's maybe you shouldn't have said that. So maybe this is one of those things where if she can just kind of tame back, like she can be good with everybody in the house, but then maybe just not say something that would piss off, one side or the other. Because she did mention that that would be a weakness. Is like maybe she just talks and says the wrong thing to the wrong person, and that could definitely get you, sniffed out in this kind of game, especially if she's trying to do this convoluted, strategy. Because everyone else's strategy was just like, I'm going to try to be a social butterfly. She seems like she's got like an actual, like I've got this thing laid out. I just got to be able to execute it. So we'll see if she can do it.
I think I'm the most excited for her just to see how that plan goes. Like, I was thinking that the entire time.
Yeah.
I'm like, I just really want to see how you try to do that.
Yeah,
So
it might go up in flames, but it might be, might be really riveting. I don't know.
they're going to go Taylor Swift there. But regardless, we're moving on here to Yash Patel, 24, from Monroe Township, New Jersey. So a few New Jersey
That's
people
where I had family grow up there. So
on this cast as well. Shout out Monroe Township. Financial analyst. He, to me, was the second guy I didn't get a ton from, and maybe I was just kind of checked out at this point because we were getting ready for the pod, and I was
yeah.
like, can this just end, please? What did you make of Yash?
So I know two Yash Patels that are also 24 years old. I went to college with two different.
Really?
Yash Patels. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, he's 24, but again, not from Clemson. He's from New Jersey. So that's the third Yash Patel that happens to be 24 years old, same age as me. So I was like, okay, this is a little interesting because I went to high school with the Yash Patel, then went to college with a different Yash Patel, and this is again a different Yash Patel.
So a hat trick of Yash Patels.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of 24-year-old Yashes in my life. So he does not want to tell people he's a financial analyst, and says his greatest strength is his mindset. He felt like one of the more authentic people in this show. Like he said,
100%.
He said he'll throw the game away for a 5'4" brunette woman who can cut hair. He's like, yeah, 750 is cool, but imagine getting 750 plus getting the woman on top. I'm like, okay, cool. I don't know why anyone else would say that, but That's interesting. He's uber competitive. He likes the extra competitions. I think he mentioned like he didn't mention it by name, but like the AI arena blockbuster thing. I think he likes the fact that there's more ways to save yourself now. He might need those those other avenues to save himself. Says he'll crush his enemies, and then at the end he said he wouldn't tell us his strategy because that's top secret information, and a good strategist would not tell his actual strategy. So I don't know. I don't know what to make him. I think I'm pretty fascinated to see how he does. I don't know if I'm going to be rooting for him or rooting against him. I have no idea. Just felt like he came off a little bit more authentic than other people did on this cast.
So a few things about Mr. Patel here. First off, I've never heard anyone gas up hairdressers like this. I'm gonna have to tell my grandma. She's been a hairdresser for 50 years. I'm gonna be like, "Hey, do you have a fan in Yash Patel here?" I just couldn't believe that that was his type. I just immediately started dying laughing. I'm like, "That what?" I've
Okay.
never heard anyone say that before.
No,
But teach your own. Have your type, man. So
that's fine. I don't. Yeah, that's
that was
fine.
great. The other thing is, I don't know if you got a whiff of this too. Didn't this feel like he was being uber sarcastic? Like, I
Yes,
don't
it
think
did.
he's actually like this,
No,
right?
I don't think he's gonna be actually. I think you'll probably tame it down. Again, that's one of those things. I think you're more playing it up for the camera. I do think he is like this, but I think he's a little bit like he'll
But
tame
it
it.
did feel like he was trying to like portray that he was in on the joke.
Yes, he was in on the joke. Yeah, I think his personality is like this. Maybe it's a little bit like this humor. This is his humor, possibly. So, again, I don't know. I got to see what he's like in these confessionals in the diary room. I got to see what he's like in front of actual real people. Because not all these people feel like real people to me. Like, there's a few people in this cast. I'm like, are they real? Are they like a plant, an industry? I don't know. But I think that I want to see what he's like meshing or mingling in with these kind of people. So I do think he was kind of in on the joke. But again, we only got 3 minutes of these people, so I really don't know. I could be wrong. I have no idea. So I'm interested to see how he does. I think he's one of the few people like out of the short list. I think he's one of the 3 or 4 people I'm actually really intrigued to see on my television screen
And if you notice, Mike, this is it. There's no one beyond Yash. So that means there's 14 folks
for
on the
now.
cast right now. There could be room for 2, there could be room for 4. From what we understand, there is most likely a Big Brother returner. It feels like it's been all but confirmed that a Survivor contestant is going to be on this season as well. Now, that would make it 16 if it's just those 2. It could be an expanded cast. We really have no idea what to expect. The 2 leading names right now are D from Survivor, who's just on Survivor 50, a former winner, and then Angela Murray, who was on a few seasons ago. She was doing the Crazy Eye stuff with Matt, and she was a humongous fan favorite. She won America's Favorite House Guest, right?
I believe so. I
Almost
believe.
positive she did.
I think she did. Yeah, Chelsea. That was Cam, MJ. Yeah, I think it was her. It was Angela. I think. Yeah.
Yeah, it feels like it would be her. So, if it is those 2, how would they slot into the cast?
I'm really interested if it is. I actually do hope it is D. I really like D. I think she would be interesting. Like I've seen her on the challenge. I've seen her on Survivor. She's done really good at both. I want to see how she would play a game like Big Brother that is a little bit different than those. As far as like the longevity of it, it's much longer, much more
Mike, correct me if
taxing.
I'm wrong. She would be the first to be on all of them, right?
Yeah. She'd be the first to be on all of them. I don't think. I want to say Hayden. No, Hayden was never on the challenge. Josh has never been on Survivor. I
And
think she would be
wasn't
the
D
first.
even on The Amazing Race too? Am I
Yeah. I
making
think
this up?
I think she's done.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, she's done. She's done the yeah. So she would be doing the CBS trifecta if this is Big Brother, and again, obviously, if you include MTV with the challenge, she would be doing
The
all of
Big
the
Four.
same reality.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Big Four. That would be pretty impressive. Maybe that's on her bucket list. Maybe that is the case.
And
But
to be fair, MTV is a part of Paramount CBS, so it's
yeah,
all under one umbrella. So the
yeah,
Paramount 4 here,
she's doing the
I
Paramount.
believe, the first to complete it.
Yeah, the Mount Rushmore for Paramount. If she could possibly complete it, maybe that's on her bucket list. I'm really intrigued to see her. Angela was a fan favorite. She was not a Mike favorite, unfortunately. I did not love Angela on my screen at all. She just, I've seen a few Angelas. They go by Karen, where I'm from, but I've seen a few of hers. I just don't, I just don't love her archetype. I'm sorry. She's probably a very sweet mom, sweet person, but I just don't. That's not somebody that, again, great television. So I shouldn't say that because I do want people on this cast that are great TV. But Angela would get mad if somebody ate her charcuterie board. She got mad at Lisa for like glitter stuff. She got mad at Matt because I guess his eyes weren't symmetrically shaped how she wanted them to be. I don't know what it was, but she kind of just she had an interesting temper on that season. So she would make, but that's also good TV for Big Brother though. That's somebody that would work on only Big Brother. Obviously, Angela's not going to go out there doing Survivor or other things like that. So maybe Amazing Race, but For Big Brother, I think she is a good cast. Just not, again, not one of my personal favorites, but I do get the Angela hive that's out there. If she was on the season, if she was on this cast, I think she would fit kind of well because it kind of resembles a little bit of her cast. There's the athletic young women. There's the former athlete. Cam was the former athlete on her season. You couldn't tell by the challenges that Cam was doing in that season, but we have a former athlete on this season. So you kind of have some archetypes that she's seen before on this kind of show. So I think she would slide in and do pretty well.
I do want to say, first of all, we both love Dee. That goes without saying. So I really hope she's on this cast. I'd be a little bummed if she wasn't, to be honest, because she's been linked for
Yeah.
so long. The other day, she posted a video of her running, but it was like 11 in the morning and it was super dark. So people were like, "Oh, we're not falling for this. We've seen that
Hmm.
playbook in the past of, oh, like I'm not on. Here's a video of me, guys. Duh." But we'll see. As far as Angela is concerned, not necessarily an ex favorite either. I feel like for sort of a different reason than you, I don't mind the Karen casting types, and I do think she was a bit of that for sure. She did feel like someone to me that was almost a different person when the cameras were on. And then I
Oh,
feel like she started to understand, like,
yeah.
she's on camera a lot, she's getting a lot of TV time, like, let me play it up a bit. I don't necessarily love that personally because I feel like then you start getting basically like you're trying to clip farm in a way. You're trying to like make these moments and it's not super authentic. We saw this a lot last season too, where people would just like so blatantly Jimmy was a great example where he was like literally practicing
Jackson,
lines but before going out for like veto ceremonies and stuff of that nature because he knew it'd be recorded
eye
and he was
roll.
trying to make moments. I hate stuff like that. And Angela wasn't going that far as we know, but I do think there was a whiff of that to her persona. I will say this with this specific cast, I think she could be absolutely dynamite. The amount of people that said like their fatal flaw could be their mouth, and then you insert Angela into that,
Mm,
that could be box office. So
it could
I
be.
do want to say like there's a place for her in Big Brother, and especially on this cast with all these younger people trying to probably migrate towards her. If they're recent Big Brother fans, you have to think a lot of them are pro Angela and they will try to flock towards her. I think it could be really interesting. Now, she's someone who can probably never win the show. She's someone who will only last as far as everyone else lets her last because she'll probably never win a competition either. So I don't think it'll be that ridiculous. Like last time she stuck around for probably a week or two too long. They probably rectify that this go round. But if we get even like 3 or 4 weeks of Angela just causing chaos with these younger folks and making them lose their minds, I could see how that could be really good television.
Well, first of all, I think you hit the nail on the head. I didn't want to call her fake, but I think that there was some moments where she's clip farming and she's doing things that she would not like the veto ceremonies. I think she actually overstayed her welcome by about 2 months because the initial veto ceremony where Tucker uses the veto that he
Yeah.
won while he's
Yeah.
on the block on Angela. Angela was going to go home that week because nobody was liking the way that she was acting. Quinn had turned on, everyone had turned on Angela at that point, and then Tucker for some reason just gives her the veto, and she ends up overstaying her welcome by probably like 2 more months. But I digress. I think that overall you hit the nail on the head because I think that she's made for this kind of show. But again, I don't love the crocodile tears that don't seem real. And again, I'm not anyone
Yeah.
to question like authenticity or question whether you're fake or not as a person. I'm not saying she's a fake person, but it does feel like there's certain elements of like the Jimmy or like the Ashley in the veto ceremony last year when she took her off the block on Keanu, where there's a little bit of like you're just playing it up for the cameras, which I just can't stand. She wasn't practicing speeches, but it did feel like Angela would be two different people depending on like 5 minutes whether the camera's on or off. So that was a little bit. It gave fake vibes. Again, I don't think she's a fake person, but I didn't love her for all the reasons. Plus, again, she just doesn't feel like she's that authentic at times.
I do wonder, she is someone on the short list that I could see come in and play a totally different game. I do think like pretty much all of these insiders that talk to her a lot love her. And I just have to imagine she's not the same like way, way, way over the top personality in real life. It has to be played up to a certain extent. So I wonder if she did take it down a notch or two and it was a bit more leveled in her demeanor. If she could I don't think she'd ever be great at Big Brother, to be honest. I feel like last time she just showed no real acclimate. Same bucket as Keanu for me, where I'm
Yeah.
like, I don't know what is going on here with your strategy. But I do think she could at least put up a better showing, and she's been in the community now. She's probably watched the show a bit more. She was a fan to begin with, so she has that background too. Like I feel like once you've experienced something, you can definitely work out the kinks and try to run it back differently. There is a world she's just totally different and still has like those iconic moments, if you will, whether they're farmed or not. But is a bit more level headed and more strategic.
I agree. I think also we need an older person on the cast for Latrice's sake, who's 57
Yes.
years old. She could really use another. Again, I remember like Felicia. I think Felicia really was. It was helpful that Suri was on that season with Felicia. So Felicia was not the only old person on the cast. You also got a Suri who was older, had her son on the show with her. So like you at least got to have one person. I don't know who the two editions will be here, or 2 or 3 editions will be, but I do hope it's somebody in their 40s or 50s that can be a little bit close to Latrice in age, because that's, got to make it a little bit fair. You can't have one person that's older than 35 on the show.
So Angela feels like an absolute mega whale lock. D, something a few levels below that. Crossing our fingers. It seems more likely than not, but who knows? But given what we know now, these 14 folks, we'll throw Angela in there. I feel like she's all been confirmed. What do you make of Big Brother 28?
Oh boy. Well, the theme is time travel, so that could be fun. I don't know. I say every year the themes don't really interest me. This one probably won't either. But and again, the cast is the cast. It looks like a Big Brother cast every single year. Mosh up a little bit of this, a little bit of archetypes here, a little bit of stereotypes there. It's gonna be interesting. I think the when Julie Chen was doing the house reveal, there was like a bedroom that said future. I don't know if that's gonna be like one of those things where you time travel ahead in the game and you're like, I'm automatically safe for a week if you go into that room. I have no idea. There's been some weird elimination, like last year, like the hamster wheel thing that got Rachel out. There was
Yeah.
the Keanu had his doll or something like that. It was just, there was some weird, twists in the game. There always is some weird twists in Big Brother. Those were not ones that I liked. So I'm expecting some twists this season that I also don't like as well. But I'll just have to go with it. It is more or less the same game. So I'm excited to see what happens on Thursday.
I'm going to be a little bit more complimentary of this cast than you, which like never happens. I feel like I'm the one who's usually a bit more pessimistic. So this is a weird turn of events. I do think that, again, 2 or 3 minute clips, who knows? From what I was able to gather, for the first time in a while, it felt like everyone really was there to win the game, which we've complained about for a long time on Big Brother in particular, that it feels like the game's almost an afterthought and you're just trying to make moments and have social media clips and all of that stuff. There's some of that, sure, but I feel like everyone was on the same page. We're like, we want to win. We've been watching this show for a while. Yes, we might be a micro influencer on the side, but we're here because of Big Brother. There were only a few people who even admitted to being like casual fans of the show. It felt like most people at least would consider themselves borderline experts, massive fans of the franchise. So I do like that change, and I hope it kind of comes to fruition, that it makes a more entertaining season because of this desire to win. And there are these less people like an Ava, like a Blue, like I'm running out of people because I try to forget them, but that type of person where it's like it is so up to all of us that you are just trying to grow your fame.
Yeah, Ava Pearl was a great shout. That one, I don't think she ever was trying to win the game per se, but she was trying to become like this Ava Pearl, sensation. Like last year, again, Riley and Catherine probably more into just their showmance than actually trying to play the game of Big Brother.
Riley in particular, he knew nothing about the show. Like, how is that possible? Don't you like? I believe when he was saying stuff like that, people were like, "You literally have rules you have to read," and like, he clearly just didn't. Which is, what do you do? You're on a, huh?
That's why I found Keanu endearing, because while I don't think like he was the most knowledgeable guy in the cast, he was trying to win.
He was trying to win in the worst way possible, but he was trying to win.
Yes, he was. So again, some of these people will end up being like Riley probably. I don't think we'll get 16 out of 16 of everyone that's going to be like super, super locked in. Like there might be an Ava Pearl in this cast.
How does the veto ceremony work? Like what day is that?
Barrett seems like a high IQ guy. He does seem like a high IQ guy. I think like Jason's done these things before, these kind of reality TV games. There should be like Yash. Like there should be some people on here that aren't like complete ditzes. Like they should know they're like Drew's gonna be fascinating TV one way or the other. So like there should be, but they're also
I have high hopes for Haley.
Yeah. Like they're
Latrice.
Yeah, but I wouldn't rule out somebody here being like your next Blue Kim. I think Ashley has a lot of Blue Kim in her. I really do. That was the first person we saw. She might win the show. Again, last season and Ashley won, so maybe we're sticking with that theme. But again, there could be people here that are like, maybe I don't really need to see them much. They're just here to kind of build their following. Are they really trying to win the game? So we'll see. And again, I thought last year a few of the pre-jurors, like Adrienne, was a super fan, really really wanted to stay, just didn't have the numbers to stay. You're going to see some super fans here go out early again because everybody, if that's the case and everybody really really wants to win, you're going to see some of those like really difficult early pre-merge boots, or I say pre-merge, pre-juror boots, where you got players fighting and scratching and clawing to stay in this game because they really want to be here that bad.
I feel like we're gonna move away from people announcing their super fans too, specifically on Big Brother. On Survivor, it feels like everyone is when they land on the island Fiji, so it's not
Yeah.
really a talking point a ton anymore. On Big Brother, the last few seasons in particular, every time you say you're a super fan, it hurts you. Even Vinny, who was able to stay around for a while last year, I felt like that ultimately hurt him
It's a target.
in the long run because it is a target. And I don't know. People think like Vinny's big talking point against him was he was so enthralled with Big Brother and the game of Big Brother, like he couldn't manage people because he was just doing everything he possibly could to win Big Brother the game
It
more
was
so
game
than
24/7. Yeah,
Big Brother also the social experiment, right? I think we're gonna move away from that. If people are paying attention and watching the most recent
have
seasons,
to. Yeah,
I just don't think that's gonna be much anymore. Now, as far as the gimmick of the season, the time travel, I'm out on Big Brother gimmicks. I'm so out on them. I don't know why we still do it. I don't know who it caters to.
I
I
was
think
done
it's
like
supposed
6
to
years ago.
be
Yeah.
for kids maybe, but I don't think a lot of kids are even watching Big Brother, and if you're trying to expand, I don't think these, like, bashing you over the head with these goofy gimmicks is the way to do it. I don't get it. Last year with the AI stuff, I was annoyed with that, and now here with the time travel, like, why? Like, I just I don't know who it's for necessarily, and I feel like it takes away from what we enjoy about the game, and I feel like a lot of people enjoy, which is just like seeing the gameplay. That has always done enough. And if
Yeah.
you want to do these micro themes that maybe like here's a perfect example of a micro theme. The theme is time travel, right? Every single challenge, the entire season, throughout all 90 days or whatever, is a former Big Brother challenge. And then occasionally, maybe every HOH or whatever, every veto, you have someone that participated in that challenge host it. That'd be awesome. That's a cool micro theme. It doesn't necessarily like overshadow what's going on in the game. You could have like time travel gimmicks as well. You could have a Pandora's box. I would prefer if we didn't have the BB reset ever again, but you could have something akin to that that was more palatable. I'm struggling to think of something on the fly here, but you could do that and have it not again overshadow the game before us. But what we've come accustomed to is every single week there's going to be something ridiculous that involves time travel, and people are going to be on week 1 and people are going to be
No,
on week 3, and it's going to be like, what are we
too
watching? Where did the
confusing.
show we love go?
Yeah, I've been critical on Survivor for going away from gimmicks for the last however many years and just doing numbered theme seasons. But I think Big Brother has run its course on these gimmicks. Like, I really don't think you need gimmicks for the gameplay is really what I care about most. I think like one of my favorite seasons was the one where Dan's funeral happened. Like the gameplay after the coaches were actually able to play was so much better than the actual gimmick of the season, which was like that you get coaches, you get 4 coaches that pick their teams. The gameplay was so passive and so safe for the first like 5 or 6 weeks of that season. And then once the coaches actually got to play the game of Big Brother, then you got some awesome gameplay in that like 12 on down stage of the game. So I really don't think they need the gimmicks anymore to really like the gameplay it should be good enough. You don't need to actually have the every single week there's a new twist to kind of change the game. Again, Survivor had like 5 straight weeks of just weird twists that were just intermingling with the game, and it was just getting too much. After having 10 straight seasons of like just numbered seasons and no actual themes, I feel like this season's 50th theme was just twist on it, twist every single week. And then Big Brother, I don't think you need to do twists every single week. I don't think you need to do a theme every single season. So I've been out on like twists for the last 5 or 6 years now, so I'm kind of with you. But again, we'll see. Maybe they'll have something up their sleeve for this time travel thing.
Yeah, and at least the Survivor ones, the gimmicks were usually rooted in the makeup of the cast. They weren't overshadowing, and that's kind of what we're talking about here. It'd be cool if they did something like BB throwback, and again, all the comps are throwback comps, and maybe the house looks old school, something like that. Unfortunately, I think we're gonna be in a spaceship here in a few days, and we're just all gonna be annoyed with how over the top campy everything is. Any final thoughts from the cast reveal, BB-28 moving forward, the franchise as a whole, all of that stuff?
I'm just interested to see who the new additions are because again, 14 is not a full cast. They have not done 14 in a long time. As far as like, there's going to be two more people. I think additions, at least two more people. I think last year they had 17 people with the 16 original people, and then obviously Rachel was added in, but Amy was like the actual, not saboteur, but like the actual like final edition of the piece. Like she was only on the cast to get Rachel on it or something like that. So I think that right now I want to see who the last two people on the cast are. But I have interesting hopes. I wouldn't say high hopes. Again, I always watch Big Brother. There's certain seasons where I'm like I'm lost. Like final 8, final 7. If I don't care anymore, I will check out. I hope that that's not the case this season. Last season I was not checked out fully. It felt like we knew what was going to happen in the end game, and then obviously Ashley pulled it out. So we all thought Morgan was like a minus 10,000 last year in the final 5. So again, we'll see what happens, but I am interested to see what happens on Thursday night. Hopefully, we get a good premiere, and then maybe if it's interesting enough, maybe I'll dabble in some feeds. I'm not a live feed guy.
Thursdays,
Yeah,
I'm not either because I think sitting around and watching them are crazy. I'm a Terran guy. I'm a Terran tells me what happens on the live feeds guy,
yeah.
or I'm a Twitter tells me what happens on the
Just give
live
me the
feed guy.
info. Yeah,
Last year, actually, when I was working freelance a bit more often, I would at times like play it on the TV as like pure background noise.
yeah.
I wasn't totally in tune with what was actually happening, but it was fun to, and it was the first time in my life doing that. I do remember in the days when it was on Pluto, or not Pluto, Pop, excuse me. It
Pop.
was
Yep.
on Pluto more recently. It was on Pop. I would dabble more frequently. But as far as like logging into the computer and sitting around for 8 hours a day watching it, I've never been able to do that, but I have always known what's happened on the live feeds. I guess reading it secondhand or listening to it secondhand, you lose the pure excitement of like seeing it transpire. But I just want to know the information. I don't need to be totally like losing my mind over it. That's fine with me.
Yeah, I think I used to occasionally like Big Brother After Dark. I would put on like the Frankie Grande season, BB16, when it was like him and Derek and Cody and Zach, Donnie and Nicole. That was like one of those. I think I remember I did watch some live feeds and watch some After Dark stuff after that because I think they were just interesting characters. But recently, haven't really been doing it much. I think BB20 when it was Tyler and Angela and Fessy and Haley like that, Rockstar JC, those guys. Did dabble in some live feeds, but since then haven't really. I'm on Twitter. I'm like, okay, tell me what's going on so that I'm up to date. But I'm not really actually turning it on and putting it on my television screen. It has not happened in a while. So again, if this season is interesting enough and the characters are actually pull me in and gravitate me to like a random Tuesday night, and I want to throw on the feeds in the background, wouldn't rule it out.
Wouldn't either. I'm excited. I think Thursday is going to set the tone. It's going to be really interesting to see how this season develops because Survivor's had problems the last few years in this new era keeping fans in check. And I feel like a lot of us will watch Survivor no matter what, but it has gone exhausting at points. Big Brother, I think, has had a different issue with their lifespan here where they're almost doing too much out of the box stuff to rectify it. When if we just stripped it down a little bit, I feel like Big Brother would really take off, especially in modern culture with a show like Love Island being as hot as it is right now. There's a real place for Big Brother to see, like, hey, Love Island's ending right now. We're going to be the next show of the summer. And I don't think, Mike, it's an accident that Love Island ends on Sunday and Big Brother starts on Thursday. I feel like that was intentional this
Yeah,
year, where they're trying to take the mantle as the show of like the second half of summer. I know I don't like it. I don't think you do either. I miss Big Brother being like the middle to end of June and
yeah.
ending right before like football season, beginning of September. I don't like when it leaks into the
October,
middle
November.
part of
Yeah,
September, almost in October. To me, it just overstays its welcome, whether that's condensing the show so that the days are less, but it fits that old timeline, or we just push it up more. I don't really care what they decide to do. I just wish it fit that old parameters a bit more. But regardless, this is what we have before us. As far as a few days ago, we didn't know when the finale was, so we don't know how long the season's going to be. It takes a while for CBS and Paramount to release like their fall schedule, and that's usually when you see the Big Brother finale on. Maybe it's been
Us-
released. I haven't seen it
usually
yet.
no. Usually the Big Brother finale is when the Survivor season premieres. That's usually how it goes. So Survivor in the
Yes.
fall will premiere when the Big Brother finale happens. So it's usually the same night. They do back to back. So we'll start with the Big Brother premiere and then we'll go to Survivor the season, or I think maybe it's vice versa, but we start with Survivor, then we go to Big Brother finale. But usually it's the same night as you start the fall series for Survivor, and then you end Big Brother's season, whenever that is.
I don't see it right now. So again, it'll come out soon. We'll see how long the season is. I feel like that's always a point of contention. You hear a lot of vets and returners say, like, look, I would love to go on, but 90 days without TV and internet and family and all that is simply too long. And we talked about this in our State of the Franchise last year. Where like they need to maybe adapt this to the modern world where maybe they let them watch movies and TV shows that are pre-approved. Maybe they let them surf the web and have like the school blockers up. I feel like just 3 months away is just a bit too egregious when you have nothing to do and you see people just wear down. And that is part of the excitement. But sometimes they wear down to the point where it's like almost unwatchable and it's not fun and it's not a social experiment anymore. And it's just genuinely boring because they check out.
Yeah, it says 51. Survivor 51 is supposed to be premiere in late September in fall.
Okay.
There's not an exact date, but obviously it will be a Wednesday night at 8. Obviously, so it's gonna be one of those nights where, again, the fact that it goes into late September now, though, is like you start in early July, and you're basically getting all of July, all of August, all of that's basically, again, it's 3 months of obviously your summer. I just wish it started a little bit earlier, and then you end right in the early to mid September ish range, and we get right into football season. But I digress. It should be interesting. I do have high hopes.
That's it for us this afternoon. Me and Mike will be probably joined by Theo on Thursday, right after the premiere, to give us all of our analysis and whatnot. Theo's never watched the show before, so his opinion will be really appreciated. You only get one first ever episode, so Theo will be a huge help there. Again, if you haven't already, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. We'll be back with some more Love Island stuff as well. With that finale right around the corner, we have a fantasy football pod that we vaulted weeks ago that is going to premiere very shortly. NBA stuff still in the pipeline. We're just doing a lot over here in Guru Land, so please be sure to turn those notifications on and try to keep up to date with everything we are pumping out. For Mike, for Theo doing his job, I'm X. We're the Gurus, and we will see you next time.